One thing I want to talk about, and this is, I guess, is an extended version of Racket Rundown brought to you by Wilson, is on the men's side. No surprise, Sinner, Novak final. Like Novak coming back and going through a Masters 1000 draw at 37. He hasn't played since the Open. I guess he played Davis Cup, but hasn't played an ATP match since the Open. I was struck by his press conference afterwards when someone asked about the negative results. I thought his take was completely rational, right? In a world where we kind of train ourselves, and especially the great ones, almost train yourself to be a master of being irrational sometimes. Someone asked, he goes, yeah, like, listen, this is my worst performing year for a long time. It was bound to happen at some point. I'm still happy with my gold medal, oh, by the way. But let's think about this just for a second and put it in the terms of like normies. Like his worst performing year ever. He made the semifinals of Australia, the finals of Wimbledon, won Olympic gold, finals of Masters 1000. Like that's a career year for most of us. And he's going, well, you know, this disappointing Wimbledon final gold medal winning thing was something I'm just going to have to live with, and not in a bad way because that's his reality. But I thought it was completely rational. Like it is coming at some time. He is not, 30 anymore, and there's two monsters on the other side of the net that he has to compete with their primes. But I thought it was a completely rational take by Novak, and a crazy impressive week.
Did you also catch his speech and even his social media after that match? I mean, I think one thing, whatever the opinions are, this guy has a lot of angles. Some of them are conflicting. One thing that you have to give, I don't think I've ever seen an athlete, never mind a tennis player, so consistently gracious in defeat. I mean, when he loses, it's all credit to the other guy, and he acknowledges the other guy's team and eye-to-eye handshakes. And I think you're right. He was really rational about this year. And he said, look, I'm 37 years old. I'm playing. Let's be honest here, guys. I'm playing for the majors. I'm playing for Davis Cup. And still on the other side of the world in October, months away from the next major, he's getting to the final and playing a fairly tight match against the number one player in the world. If this is a down, and the other thing too, that's funny about all this Novak talk is we're still not talking about his age. I mean, this guy is 30 months away from turning 40, and we talk about his decline and he's losing a couple miles an hour. I mean, I feel like the match analysis was not, Jannik Sinner's beating a guy 15 years older who's playing on his last legs. It was about X's and O's, and it was about getting out of the corners and Novak's backhand. If this is a rotten year, I think a lot of players would sign up for it. But this also does not necessarily seem like a coda, right? I mean, this doesn't seem as though he's kind of angling down into a retirement announcement. Seems like a guy who's ready to sort of take some time off, play the Davis Cup, and see if he can't win another major in Australia. But it does not seem like we're falling off a cliff here.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a difference with the way that he's talking about it now. And not so many words. And these are me. Let me be very clear. This is me translating what he has said. He goes, I don't care about ATP finals. I'm not going to chase points. So and the way that I digest that is I'm not searching for ranking anymore. I'm not in the business of trying to be number one over Alcaraz or Sinner or these other guys who can play 10 more tournaments than I do. To your point, my focus is doing what I want to do. So maybe that's playing for Serbia in Davis Cup here and there pretty consistently, playing some team events, which is great. And trying to find out the best schedule and the trade-off between getting enough matches for slams without ever overplaying again in my entire life. So he knows that this is the thing where instead of dominating majors, he is going to maintain a very high level of tennis, and hey, maybe I can sneak a couple more along the way before that door closes, and if and when it does. But I think it's a completely rational, professional, smart way to kind of think about the things now. He knows he doesn't have to be better than Alcaraz and Sinner over 52 weeks, right? I don't think he's trying to do that. I don't think that's where his motivation lies. It's basically, can I catch lightning in a bottle like I did at the Olympics and beat, Alcaraz, who was the best player in the moment? Then can I sneak out those big wins? And is there some runway left in those? And how do I best achieve that without having the massive life trade-off that I've committed to for 20 years?
he has three things that neither Sinner nor Alcaraz has: two kids and a wife. And you ask him about longevity, and you ask him about his career, and he sort of his standard line is, "I may have lost a step of foot speed, but I make up for it with experience." But you really press him, and he doesn't talk about knees and elbows and wrists. What he talks about is missing back to school night. And my wife is home, and she's the one that's schlepping the kids to their lessons. And his son loves tennis, and he doesn't get to play with him enough. I think his family priorities and the fact that his kids are now of an age where they miss their dad, and he's very open about his wife has done a lot of the parental legwork while he's in Melbourne, Australia, and Shanghai, China. That to me is more a sort of factor in his longevity than whether his physical durability is going to hold up as he's in his late 30s.
Yeah, and the other side of the coin is Sinner, who is, if he's not in his prime, he's certainly close to it, right? I mean, he's playing about as well as you can. Undoubtedly the best hardcourt player in the world right now, not based on legacy. To sit and go, Novak's won 10 times. Like, okay, not ever, but like in this current moment, it's hard to argue against it. I think 4 out of the last 5 against Novak, 2 hardcourt majors this year. So put your feelings aside and let's deal with the last 52 weeks of that comment, which I feel pretty confident in. But man, before the Asian swing, WADA comes out and they're all over him now, and they're looking, at a 1 or 2 year suspension. What he thought was maybe something that was in the past, at least as far as the moving parts of it, is back, and he's still producing, right? Like that the mental toll of not knowing isn't presenting itself in his tennis. And I don't know if being on the court is a form of therapy, because you have to make a decision 30 seconds at a time. So therefore your mind doesn't wander to what's off the court. But listen, regardless of what you think, if you think that, he shouldn't be suspended at all, great. If you think he should get all of it, great. Those two things can be true. And also dealing with the mental scar tissue that has to be there. I mean, he's doing an unbelievable job of it, and just going through the consistency is just phenomenal right now.
Yeah, and the fact that this is an open-ended question, not just in terms of penalty. I mean, I've got this on really good sourcing that at the U.S. Open, he comes in, he gave a press conference, he obviously won the title. He did not think that this CAS appeal was coming. I mean, I think he thought, this WADA appeal. I mean, I think he thought the decision is decision, and this is an unfortunate moment, and now I can move forward. I do not think that he thought in October we'd still be talking about this, and that there would be this WADA appeal. I think one thing is just the uncertainty of it all in terms of what the penalty is. I think also it's the timing, right? I mean, it's not as though they said, "Hey, listen, on December 1st, we're going to issue our judgment." I'm told that ideally this gets done by the end of the year, but there's a big tournament in January. He's a defending champion. It must be really strange not to know if you will be eligible. But his ability to compartmentalize, I mean, the cliche is competing in tennis is going to be his sanctuary with all this instability outside the court. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but what he is doing in the face of this sort of swirling, this cloud of controversy with no fixed date of resolution, I think is really impressive in its way. And I mean, again, we'll see what WADA and CAS does. They're just to repeat was in their legal filing. I mean, this does not seem to be. They don't take issue with the fault or the negligence. They just take fault with the responsibility. And we'll see which way the judgment goes. And with any luck, one way or the other, we'll have some sort of outcome by the end of the year. Yeah,
WADA's not coming in because they're saying, "Oh, he definitely improved and enhanced performance by virtue of what he took." It's basically, was the ruling of no fault, no negligence, cross T's, dot I's, was it correct or the way that we would have ruled on it? And I don't know. That's probably over my pay grade. Do you know something that WADA definitely does not have a problem with, JW?
What's that? Oh, segue.
They have no problem. They have no, you can't test positive for Olipop. You can just feel positive. There you go, producer Mike. Can't see me, but you hear me. I know you hear me.